about his condition and limitations, framing his re-election bid as a disastrous misstep. The book dives into Biden's shockingly narcissistically self-delusional and reckless decision to run again per the publisher, revealing a desperate bet that went bust after his faltering June 2024 CNN debate performance, moderated by Tapper.
In this video, Patrick Bet David and his co-host discuss the recent news around CNN's Jake Tapper. Patrick Bet David and crew discuss a book that's recently come out detailing that Jake Tapper intentionally and knowingly lied about Joe Biden's cognitive decline, as well as play a clip of Jake Tapper running cover for the ex-president. With that, let's watch Patrick Bet David and his co-host collectively tell Jake Tapper somebody's got some splaining to do.
Guy on and talk about it. New book to detail cover-up of Biden's health decline before 2024 election. This is Jake Tapper, okay? Jake Tapper is coming out with a book. And his new book called Original Sin. There was a movie named Original Sin with Angelina Jolie. I don't know if you've seen it with Antonio Banderas. It's actually a pretty good movie.
Very good movie.
Original Sin, President Biden's decline, its cover-up, and his disastrous choice to run again. By Jake Tapper, an Axios reporter, Alex Thompson, set to release May 20th, 2025 by Penguin Press, promises to expose a top-level cover-up of Joe Biden's health decline before 2024 election. Penguin Random House press release states Biden, his family, and his senior aides were so convinced that only he could beat Trump again, they lied to themselves, allies, and the public about his condition and limitations, framing his re-election bid as a disastrous misstep. The book dives into Biden's shockingly narcissistically self-delusional and reckless decision to run again per the publisher, revealing a desperate bet that went bust after his faltering June 2024 CNN debate performance, moderated by Tapper, led to his exit endorsement of Vice Presidential Kamala Harris, who lost to Trump. Tapper told CNN Business, Toni Morrison once said, if there's a book that you want to read, but it hasn't been written yet, then you must write it, explaining that's what inspired this book. We wanted to know more about what we all just lived through. Here's him and Laura Trump.
I love it.
If you like watching videos like this one, like and subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. Let's get back to the video.
Him defending President Biden. Watch this.
I think it makes little kids with stutters feel when they see you make a comment like that?
First and foremost, I had no idea that Joe Biden ever suffered from a stutter. I think what we see on stage with Joe Biden, Jake, is very clearly a cognitive decline.
Okay.
That's what I'm referring to. It makes me uncomfortable.
You are
to
no
watch somebody on stage
it's so amazing. It's so amazing to me
and try and figure out an answer.
A cognitive decline.
Well, when you're trying to tell me that what I was suggesting was
I think that you were mocking his stutter. I think you were mocking his stutter, and I think you have absolutely no standing to diagnose somebody's cognitive decline. I would think that somebody in the Trump family would be more sensitive to people who do not have medical licenses. Diagnosing politicians from afar. Plenty of people have diagnosed your father from afar, and I'm sure it offends you. Your father-in-law from afar. I'm sure it offends you. You don't have any standing to say.
I'm not diagnosing him. What I'm saying, Jake,
you just talked about a cognitive decline.
That Joe Biden
I have one last question for you, Laura. You can't
times on stage, and it's very concerning to a lot lot of people that this could be the leader of the free world.
Okay.
Well, it says Trump Pence in the back.
Okay, so
sorry for
Trump Pence.
I appreciate it. I'm sure.
It says Trump Pence in the back.
I don't really get this play by Jake Tapper. Like, isn't he just ratting on himself? I mean, how's he going to spin this to not associate himself with it when there's clips like that out there? Well, I can tell you who doesn't need to buy his book is every conservative ever, because we might not know the exact details of the cover-up of Biden's cognitive decline, but we've all been talking about it since he friggin' first ran for president. And how about Jake Tapper white knighting for kids with stutters? Do you think that's offensive to a child with a stutter out there? A child with a stutter out there isn't paying attention to Laura Trump's comments, okay? And I know that Joe Biden had a history of a stutter, but I don't think that the majority of Americans do. And the only time it gets brought up is when he's a mumble-mouthed moron on stage, which is most times, but they try to use that as a crutch. It's so stupid. Before we get back to the video, you know what I can't stand? I can't stand this. You're not a doctor. You can't diagnose anyone. They did that with the pandemic as well. If you disagreed with any of the mainstream narrative, A, she wasn't diagnosing anyone, and B, isn't everyone allowed to comment on what they're observing? It's not like she was making some wild leaps in logic, whatever. Anyway, let's get back to the video.
So this is a long time.
That's a long time ago.
Okay.
Obviously, legacy media is dying, and and nobody's giving it CPR. It's almost gone. He is one of the biggest lying leftists. He has his moments where we all, just like Bill Maher, we go, oh, maybe there's no. He's self-righteous. He's smug. That type of attitude, and the fact that he wrote a book about covering up Biden's decline when he was part of it is like Hillary Clinton writing a book called Mysterious Suicides: The Shocking Truth About People Who Knew Too Much. That's what he's doing. It's complete BS, and now it's all coming to pass. And by the way, that's what I love about the internet. These videos, the moment this book came out, that clip comes out. He's been doing it for a while, and that's why CNN and all these people are going bye-bye, period.
Tom.
You know, it's very interesting. Jake Tapper is currently in the hurricane that is CNN. Last year, he signed a 3-year extension for $20 million. So that's, almost $7 million a year. He wanted 5 years for 50. They said, not going to happen. Budgets being budgets. And that was not a raise over his previous salary. And he was very upset because he thought he deserved.
Oh, yeah, I want to say one more thing I didn't say when I first commented. Jake Tapper was like, I think you of all people would be sensitive of someone diagnosing a president from afar, a presidential candidate. And he's like, people try to diagnose your father all the time. I guarantee you that no one in the Trump family gives a rat's ass if you question Donald Trump's cognitive ability, because they know that the vast majority of Americans know that you're all liars and not to be trusted. Vinny made a good point there. You see someone like Jake Tapper, and their default setting is just to lie constantly. And then they, moderate a debate fairly or report on something accurately. And because I think Republicans are generally just good people, fair people, we'll give credit where credit is due and be like, yeah, hey, I don't like him, but he did all right there. But the bar is so low for these people, and I think people on the right are relatively good folks and kind, that all they have to do is just tell the truth. And we're like, yeah, okay, good job. But 100% of the time, they make us regret the compliment we gave with a lie that's like 10,000 times worse than whatever it was they just told the truth about. Anyway, let's get back to the video.
The raise over his previous salary of all the stuff he had done through the primaries. And it just goes to show you, the expiration date on these folks' careers is coming, because you can't continue to roll this way and then be exposed for just outright historical hypocrisy in the name of a paycheck, which is what we're seeing here. And so the buyer of CNN gets a benefit of the anchor, Caitlin Collins, not having like a thunder contract. You know what I mean? Like, she's still playing her rookie contract. So they're going to get 3-4 years of her and, at price A before she says, I want the big contract. And Jake is caught here. He's out doing this. And I actually think it's hubris. It's absolute hubris with a dial turned to 10, that you could actually do what you did for all those years and then write a book about it, and you're actually pointing a finger back at yourself. And to me, that's what's shocking about it.
Adam.
I'm actually going to defend Jake.
Yeah, I guess this video is coming full circle, because that's the first thing I said, right? Like, why is Jake Tapper ratting himself out? It's not like he has any credibility now, but if it can sink any lower, that's all he's doing. So that's why I'm wondering, how does he spin this to say, well, it wasn't me, but, that was happening, because we have video evidence of him doing it. And Tom's 100% right, too. These people exist in a bubble of other left-wing media people and politicians and ivory tower elites that don't care about the average American. And they're just getting congratulated and patted on the back all the time. So they probably do start to feel like they're invincible no matter what's said about them, no matter what comes out about the lies that they tell. And Tom used the perfect word. It's hubris. But we want to hear from you. What do y'all think about Jake Tapper and his book about the plot to cover up Joe Biden's cognitive decline? I'm sure you're all very surprised that there was an attempt to cover that up. But let us know what you think in the comments. Anyway, as always, really appreciate you watching, and we will see you on the next one.